get that helps. So if you can, if you didn't give on the way, maybe you can hit the bucket on the way out because it'll still be out there. So thank you for doing that. Sponsors, as we said, we have lunch provided by our sponsors. First is Barnes and Thornburg. Second, Caldwell's Inc., Duke Energy, HWC Engineering, Indiana American Water, McNeely Law, 9 Star Communications, Runnabun Construction, and Rush Shelby Energy. So if you give them a big hand, if you don't mind, please. And also today, it'd take us forever to go through the list. We have a lot of elected officials here. Just want to acknowledge them, and a lot of candidates here. Early voting, I believe, does start next Tuesday. So as if you ever win a race by 19 votes, you know every vote counts. So if you're supporting somebody, please vote. So let's give them a hand if you don't mind, please. My wife is also with us today, so thank you, honey, for being on. So talk about the election and talk about politics a little bit. When I ran for mayor, I had ideas. I want to build a stronger Shelbyville and, really make things better. We talked about, coordinating with our, existing community services, MHP for mental health. Mental health was a big topic during the campaign. We're doing some things with that. We're glad to have MHP in our community to provide with that. Providing resources for our police department so they can do a better job dealing with mental health issues is a big priority, and we're working feverishly to try and get those things up and running. Economic development, we need to continue and build and maintain existing amenities in our community. We need to be cleaning up our blighted areas. We're working on those. We're trying to pass some new ordinances that will help us get some of those things done. Increase the diverse and attainable housing for our community. New apartments popping up. We have another new apartment complex that's going to be popping up soon. TWG over on the west side. With that, the west side, cleaning the west side up and trying to make it a better place is one of our things that we're going to work on. Improve city services with a higher level of professionalism and efficient processes. We're still working on these things. We stressed to my department heads at the beginning of the year, we want you to answer the phone. Don't let it go to the phone tree. Treat our customers with respect and make sure that they get the care they need. If you get a message before noon, return it that day. If you get a message after noon, make sure it's returned the next morning by noon. Just small things like that make a difference, I think. As people, especially if they're frustrated, they get to the point where the frustration builds if they don't hear back. So we're working hard on those efforts. So achievements, like I said, we're working on the communications. We're always working on making our staff better. We have a great staff in the city, and I'm going to go through a little bit later all the departments and what we have going on. We have been able to, have 10 officers certified with CIT, which is a goal, and the chief's on board with that. We're trying to make sure that we have an officer available on every shift to work with people that have mental issues, and trying to make sure that we do a better job handling things. It's more prevalent in our community than ever at this point in time. We're going to also work on possibly increasing the budget a little bit to pay some of our people better for, keeping the attainability. And it's kind of weird to think that in government that we're now in competition with private sector for people to keep their jobs. And if we want to keep the, bright people that we have working for us or hire new bright people, we need to make sure that we pay a competitive wage. And I think we've done a good job at that over the last several years, but we need to still keep that going. We've, I was at a mayor's conference earlier this week. We talked about the attaining police officers and trying to get people to work in your safety departments, fire department and police department. How do we do those things? It's a hard job. I mean, so we hear from our departments every year during negotiations how we're underpaid versus communities around us. So we've got a study that we're doing with Franklin and Shelbyville, comparing all of our budgets with our benefits and see how we actually stack up. Because I don't know if, I see what their salary is, but I don't know what all their benefits are. So we're going to try and dive into that to make sure we treat all of our public safety people with the respect they should have, and pay them in a great way. We've been kind of just moving right along to things, and we got a lot of good going on. So it's the office culture is, I think, good with what we have. We first state of the city address. So, hopefully this is something we continue to do annually. Goes with our transparency through our campaign, trying to be more transparent. And that's been a little bit of a frustrating thing, because I think we're putting out a lot of information with hiring Jenna as our PR. We put out a lot of good press releases, which hopefully makes the media, makes Johnny's job easier. He doesn't have to write something. It's already written, and all I have to do is report on it. We've worked hard and diligently on those. We're in the process of a new city website to make it, accessible. It's going to have a lot of new centralized components to it. It's going to be able to work on, you'll be able to sign up if, say, if you're interested in just going to a plan commission meeting. You'll be able to click a button and it'll notify you when all plan commission meetings are. So trying to keep people involved, trying to get everybody involved. I mean, we've had, what have we had now, like 6 council meetings so far this year, or 7, maybe 10 people from the public. I mean, that's good, but I don't want people just to show up when they're mad. We need people to be involved in our community. We have a new Japanese company that just announced a month ago. That was a very kind of a good announcement. Only 30 jobs at this point in time, but with a lot of potential for expansion. So working on job retention and then getting new people to our community is a big plus. Trying to raise our actual median income is what we're striving to do in order to make sure that we have better things in our community. We're also, excuse me, the challenges that we face and are, coming up are, hard. We have the nonprofit center that is trying to get off the ground. We've applied for that, some of the Ready 2.0 monies, but I believe that's a big benefit for our community. We have a centralized location for people in need of services to get their services, and we're striving to get that up and running as soon as we can. And also in partnership with MHB, community navigator positions in Kean's office. Kean, I was here today. It's been a process where we're trying to fill each other out and see what our goals are and direct them in certain ways, but there's been great work done with that so far, and we're trying to make those better. We can actually, help people in our community more than we ever have. We now have 3 people in positions that people can go to for help, and it's very important that we provide the help for people in our community. CIT training we mentioned earlier for our police department is a great thing. The city and county relationship, so we ask for questions, and this is one of the questions here. Somebody wanted to know about the city and county relationships. Well, the city and county, it's never been, I think we get along great. We don't see each other a lot. We share, resources. We run the ambulance for the whole county, and we do run the animal shelter for the whole county. Those things have sometimes been contentious, and they end up in the news, and I think communication has been one of the issues. We haven't communicated well. I've asked the city attorney to maybe look at, and we'll work with the county and trying to help them make a more streamlined process so we don't come up with surprises for the county council and end up with dues in the paper thinking we're not getting along. So I think we're getting along. I think that's came a long way in the last 12 years. Mayor Bond worked very hard at doing that and did a real good job at it. So we're trying to get that and make sure that we keep those relationships going, working closely with them. Of course, there could be a turnover. There is going to be a turnover. We're losing 2 of the commissioners this year. And Commissioner Nye and Commissioner Parker have done a great job over the years and always been easy to work with, so we appreciate their efforts. Downtown, lighted buildings. Oh boy, where do we start? We have difficulties downtown. The new redesign of the square is done well. I mean, it's created some synergy, and we have our first event down there Saturday night this year. Earlier this week, we talked about the pop-up events that'll be happening again this year, thanks to the Shelby County players working on those. But we have buildings that are troubled, and we're working on some different ordinances. We can help deal with those problems. We've had meetings with one of the property owners down there and tried to convince them that they needed to do something. But the biggest problem, I'm not going to name the building because everybody knows which one it is. The rehabilitation of this building does not make sense from a cash flow perspective. So what do? So we have had interest from people from outside the community, which is good in these properties. It's kind of exciting that we had an exciting thought that was going to happen, but they backed out on it. But we're going to continue to strive to make our downtown better, work on that, and trying to make Shelbyville better. So the downtown is, our city, and we need to make sure that we do what we can to make it better. So, homelessness in our community is always a big topic. We've worked, on the homelessness. We've talked with, Behavior and Health and Equity Department, and we starting to work partnering with the Salvation Army to help them get some of their services more active. Their biggest problem is they don't have a lot of volunteers, or the volunteers they need. We're working on a community navigator for the jail, somebody that will actually go into the jail and help people that are getting out of jail have their IDs and have their needs and what they need to maybe be a productive citizen again. We need to work on these things every day, and it's tough stuff, but it's tough stuff to talk about too, because we only usually like to talk about the positive stuff. But the hard things are the hard things, and we're going to deal with them the best we can. Those are some of the biggest challenges we have going forward in the next 3 years and 9 months. Yeah, 3 months in, so good. So I'm going to department updates next, but I'm going to let Clerk Treasurer Scott Asher talk about the money, because he is our money guy, and I think Scott has done a fantastic job. He's been easy to work with me. He seems to be, he cares about our community as much as I do, and his best interest is his keeping the finances well, and he's done a great job. So Scott.
Thank you very much. Again, I'm Scott Asher. I'm in my 5th year as clerk treasurer for the city of Shelbyville. It's my pleasure to be here with you guys today. I will be brief. Public speaking is not my thing. I told the mayor that I just wanted to put a suit on and have 2 minutes of fame today. So that's about what you're going to get. It's going to be a very concise version. And then anytime anybody has questions afterwards, they can obviously come see me and I will get you anything you need. But overall, the city of Shelbyville is in a very sound financial position. Our cash balances and our reserve amounts continue to grow. Our investments performed at a very high level this last year, with the interest rates being as high as they were in 2023. We brought in $1.1 million of interest, which I'm actually very proud of our office for getting that done. We also have an A+ S&P Global overall rating, which allows us to have great borrowing power for revolving debt. The mayor and the council continue to maintain a balanced budget. The city tax rate continues to remain constant and lower than the state average. We have capital improvement plans. We have vehicle replacement plans in place. Our office continues to up our game as far as communicating and reporting to all the departments. The mayor has done a fantastic job of engaging with department heads and myself, making sure we have a clear plan and path financially as we move forward. I'm very excited to see some of the future projects that we are working on right now currently, and I look forward to growing together as a team and a city. On another note, my office is a wealth of information. Please know that anyone from the public at any time can request any kind of financial data, any kind of records from my office. I have a very talented group of individuals in my office. It's 100% a team effort. We take our training pretty seriously. We go through DLGF training, SBOA training. We go to AIM conferences. Transparency is a must, and internal controls are an office priority. We're always willing to educate the public or a concerned citizen. Shoot me an email, call for an appointment. We are always here to help. This afternoon, my goal was to stay very brief and just give a slight overview and a positive message to the city of the city's finances. My team and I would be happy to answer any questions after the event, and this is my team over here. Thank you for your time, and thank you for caring about the state of our great city.
Okay, now don't get bored, but we're going to run through every department in the city and give a little update on what's going on with those departments. Scott, thank you very much. He is right. His staff is great. They've had a few tasks that I've asked them to do, but they don't work for me, that they're not taken care of. But I'm kidding. I've got a personal thing there. So in the city, the clerk treasurer does not work for the mayor. the staff does not work for the mayor. So I think people get confused every now and then. He's his own elected official and he's his own boss. Well, you're his boss actually. And, you know, we work well together. And after I went to this mayor's conference this week, you learn what a blessing it is when you hear some of the horror stories from other mayors that don't have clerk treasurers that they've been able to work with. And I've been blessed, even my previous 2 terms as mayor, having a great clerk treasurer in Rob Meyerholt. So that is truly a blessing. So thank you, Scott. All right, our animal shelter. We had change in our animal shelter earlier this year. Keith Barrett, after 20 years, sum it up. I hired Keith 20 years ago to be our animal shelter director. And kind of at the time when I hired him, I went, well, that's an interesting choice, but we did it, and he was a blessing. He did a great job. And anybody there went to the haunted trails at the animal shelter on Halloween. That was a fantastic event. So we were lucky enough. We have a new animal shelter coordinator, and it's Keith's son, Adam. Adam came to me, and when his dad was going to retire, and well, no, you know, I had an interest in hiring. I said, well, if you're half the guy your dad is, we're going to be in good shape. So we hired Adam back in 1st of February, and he's done a great job. Their focus this year is, you know, of course, increasing community partnerships through events and fundraising and adoptions. They're always caring out there. They have a great staff, and they're working harder to make it better all the time. We have a great facility. If you haven't been out there, you haven't donated your time, call up and get on the section. Really glad to have you. Behavioral health and equity. I spoke earlier, we're getting the Gel Navigator program working. We're trying to make sure that we have people that are getting the needs in our city. Spoke about earlier. I mean, it's important. It's important things that we have to provide more services than we ever have to help with our citizens. Trying to establish, you know, more community partnerships and create support systems, you know, for mental health and the homelessness. Something we're really working on hard. I don't think people, like I said, those aren't the things we talk about a lot. So people don't think that maybe we're doing as much as we should be, but we're working hard on those issues. Trust me, I got people around that won't let me quit thinking about those. So it's something we don't highlight, but something we're and we need to keep going with. City administration, some girl named Jody ran around here, our personnel director for 20 years ago. I can't believe somebody hired her 20 years ago. But Jody, yeah, right there, has done a fantastic job. You know, she's been a bright light to, I think, all the employees in the city. She's working hard on, you know, always trying to, you know, create better benefits for our citizens and for our employees and make their jobs easier. I think that most people in the city really respect what she does, and she's easy to talk to and always has her door open and is welcoming to all of our employees, and she does a great job. You know, they're going to be, you know, always trying, like we talked about earlier, trying to retain people, and that is difficult. So we need to have good people, and she does a great job of that. Susan Baughman is somewhere probably out there hiding still in the back, but some fool hired her 20 years ago too, and she stuck around. But I will tell you, people ask me, you know, when I came back in this year, was it kind of easy? And I said, well, yeah, I got my same 2 people that I dealt with all the time 20 years ago. So it was very easy transition, and thanks to their hard work and thanks to them, they've done a great job for me, and I appreciate it. Common Council, of course, you mentioned earlier, we passed the tax abatement for our new Japanese company, our 15th Japanese company, which we're pretty excited about. Ties us for the most in the state of Indiana. For Japanese companies, we're always working hard on retention of our companies. We just kind of got lucky with this company. I was on the Sister City trip back in September of last year, and we visited with them. Mayor DeBond wasn't on that trip, unfortunately, but myself and Scott Asher and Brian Asher and Linda Sanders went and visited this with that company. I say that it was me that brought them, but Linda says it was her, and Scott thinks she had something, you know, and Brian thinks he did something too, but I thought it was all me. And I like to tell the story that we basically, they told me that if you get elected, we're going to be there. If not, we're not. So that's the story. Not true, but yeah. So they're doing there, and then they're learning. We have, you know, 4 brand new council people, and 6. So we have two other council people. This was their first election last year, so technically 6 newly elected council members. They're young. They're trying. I'm trying to share information with them all the time and give them the knowledge they need. I've asked them to pass the new tax abatement standards, so we're actually getting 2% back on our tax abatements now, and I'm really thankful for that. That was actually a Brad Ridgway idea back in the day, and they never got it done, but this council got that accomplished already. We worked on the food truck vendors, trying to get a new ordinance for that. We had some old outdated rules that weren't helping us, and we're getting more food trucks in town. I'm not opposed to food trucks coming to town, but I'm opposed to them coming in and taking all the money from our citizens and leaving, not being a corporate citizen, and not paying taxes, and not, giving the girls club money, the boys club money, or being that. So we crafted the ordinance, or Jenny crafted the ordinance where we actually allow them, in lieu of making a fee or payment, they can actually contribute to our non-for-profits in our community and get permitted that way, which I thought was a great idea to do, because it's actually giving back to our community. And that's what it's all about. We got to give back all the time. And, they always say give till it hurts, and it can hurt sometimes, but we got to do it. So we've got that done. They've done a great job. We're still working on more things. Like I said, we're working on ordinances for the downtown and trying to, make it easier to clean properties up and do things. Engineering department, they're somewhere around here. Two guys, they've done a great job. John is working hard, and we have a lot going on. This next year is going to be of course, this year we had to finally finish up the Miller and Mechanic project there that was let sometime last year to do in the winter, which I had no idea. We worked through that and got it done finally. The next big project for the city is McKay Road. Doing McKay Road from Miller Street to Berwick. It'll be a hassle this summer. We're going to wait till school's out, obviously, but it's going to be an overlayment of asphalt on top of the concrete. This new way of putting fabric down is supposed to make it good, but we're going to do that this summer. And then the completion of our Southwest Connector Trail, adding another 2 miles to the trail, which will actually come from the street department and go all the way down McKay and by the high school, and then come all the way down to the bottom of the McKay Road and turn and go up the old railroad track towards by the pool there. So it's a good project, and those were of course paid for. It's a next DNR grant, paid for 70% of it. So it was a wise choice to do, and it's going to be a nice. We talk about amenities in our community all the time and what we need to do to enhance our community and make it better and make it, so more people want to be here. And that's kind of one of those goals. I think trails are an important thing. People want to exercise. People want to get out and do things. Our fire department, the chief's here. New chief, of course, this year, Chief Lutz, doing an outstanding job. We've had our issues this year. I know on social media, someone said they saw the fire truck on fire on North 9, broke down one day, or North Riley Highway, and wasn't actually the case. Just the turbo went out on it. But we've had a lot of maintenance issues. They've worked through those. I think every piece of equipment we've had has been down this year at some point in time. So we've had our challenges to keep that going. Ambulances, we're scheduled to finally get 3 new ambulances this fall. Hopefully they come in. We've been waiting on those for a year and a half now, and 2 years. Yeah. So it's hard to do our jobs if we don't have the equipment. We have the great people to do it, but getting the equipment's been the problem. We're upgrading our technology, better communications, and services with dispatch. I know she's been working consistently with the dispatch to try and make sure we keep things going. Personnel and training, we're always implementing new officer training to make keep our people up to staff. We have 9 new paramedics in the next 2 years currently in school. So it's going to be it's probably the youngest fire department I've ever seen in the 28 years I've been involved in city government. It's kind of like their kids. I mean, it's like, well, but they'll be well trained and ready to serve the public. And like I said, the serving the ambulance across the county is always going to be one of our hardest issues and things that we're always trying to work for. We're never going to quit doing it unless they don't want us to do it. It's not something we want not to do, but it's something we got to try and figure out how, decreasing our loads is going to have to happen one of these days, or we're going to kill all our guys and women. But they do a great job, and I appreciate the public safety. This weekend, obviously, for public safety is going to be a big challenge for us all. So we're going to talk about that a little later. We have our airport, and most people know we have a great municipal airport, I hope. We do a lot of good things out there. There's a fly-in community day coming up on August 17th. There's a repair and maintenance center out there. They do a great job. It's one of our best hidden secrets, I guess. We have a lot of companies that come in and use our airport. It's a great selling point for companies. Poet, I know when they first came, I think their corporate jets were in and out there about every other day. So it was a good. And then now Caesars is using it quite a bit with the casino next door. So they're great. They're great, and they do a great job out there. We're going to have the Parks Department next. Trish is in the building. Parks Department is it's a hard job. I mean, and you know, I guess 20 years ago, I didn't really realize everything in the Parks Department. I knew what they did, but I think I've been more involved this year trying to, because we're doing some projects and realizing how much there is on the plate of the director and what they're doing at all times. Many different great programs. Both of my kids are, one's out of college, one's in college. The only reason they made it is because they went to preschool down there. Is that right? Is that right? Yeah. But no, we're there's a press release coming out soon that we're talking about, you know, installing Wi-Fi in all of our parks, which is actually going to, you know, through the Gigabyte Now, people we're going to actually be able to have more cameras in our park for safety. Safety is a big concern always, and we have lots of complaints about safety and different things. So putting more cameras in our parks and being able to watch them better, and having a better idea for, you know, if there are bad things that go on, we know who did them and we can prosecute them, and hopefully those things don't happen again. The new pickleball courts were completed last year. Be hosting our first tournament this spring. We have an installation of 3 new water features going on at the splash pad out at Blue River Park. We're beginning the stages of amphitheater in Blue River Park. That was a project that was started last year, and we're carrying on and trying to get that done. And then also the other indoor recreation center that was started, and that's in Blue River Park also. So we have lots of good projects going on, good for our community. More, you know, the amphitheater, I think, is something we should have had years ago. I don't know why we don't, but we're going to get it done now, and it's going to be nice and a great, you know, addition to our park services. Planning and building. We have 300 plus apartment units and 800 single family homes scheduled to be built in the city of Shelbyville. It's more than we've ever had. So kudos to the last administration on getting these efforts going. We're in negotiations with several commercial and real estate projects, which are kind of exciting. I wish I could say something about them, but I can't. But hopefully we're finally going to get something, you know, better than what we have and add to what we already have. That's great. So we've going to be installing the 2 new roundabouts on North Riley Highway and redoing North Riley Highway into a North State Road 9, and doing that with pedestrian trails and sidewalks all the way out for safety. A lot of people walk out there all the time. It's a great project. We're looking forward to getting that started still this summer, and it'll go well, I hope. And, you know, we're planning on keeping the traffic patterns with 2 lanes going the whole time, and making sure that we get safety is our main concern out there, so to get those things done. Our police department, they've been working hard on transitioning to non-lethal alternatives and, you know, incidents, beanbag shotguns, tasers. We're getting new tasers this year. We haven't got them already. We're close to getting them. We're installing body cams finally for the first time later this early summer, first spring, later in the spring. The crisis intervention team, you know, for mental health is going well. I hope we're going to have a full-time crisis intervention officer here pretty soon, and being able to have that one person just to handle those calls every day, or follow-ups and different things in our community, that when people have problems, they have somebody they can turn to that has the ability to give them answers and steer them in the right direction. And then also we're looking at building a new police station. I don't know if you've read the news or then we talked about that. We've got a meeting to try and find a location. We're kind of stalled a little bit on that because we got this something that starts with an E happening on Monday, and we've been doing a lot for that. So our public utility office is maintained, bill paying convenient through our, you know, many options, online, phone, and in person. They're open for lunch hours and 24/7 night deposit drop box. They have auto withdrawal option also that they can do that doesn't cost you anything. If you don't want to use your credit card, it comes up automatically out of your check every month. So they'll be glad to set that up and do those. To always trying to stay with the times and have better ways to do things. Our MS4 department, stormwater, new DNR rules, or IDM rules this year came out, permits. So Derek is going to be working on looking at all of our city ordinances and making sure that they're in compliance with the new IDM rules, and trying to make sure that we're also going to be upgrading storm sewers and improving drainage, you know, during the construction season. So Street department, we have our sidewalk program, which if someone needs a sidewalk, I urge you to take advantage of that. It's a great program. Our guys do a great job putting that together and doing that. They also, we assist people that are handicapped with trash collection. If you need somebody to come up your driveway and get your trash can, all you gotta do is call us and let us know, 317-392-5169. AV or answer the phone down there and get you taken care of. They do a great job of there. Of course, snow removal, and then we'll be reconstructing streets and alleys this year as normal. We'll have a list that'll be available pretty soon of what we're going to plan on doing this summer. Our water resource recovery facility, obviously they'll be doing the sewer cleans this year, trying to get everything cleaned up and ready to go. The great thing about the wastewater recovery facility, we've not bypassed in the last 10 years, which means we've not flushed raw sewage into the river in the last 10 years. And some may think that's awful that we did it, but most every community around us has combined sewers, and we're lucky in Shelbyville we do not have combined sewers. So most communities around us do it every day. We've not done it in the last 10 years, so it's a blessing to be able to have a great, facility to handle all of our needs. We also they'll be sprucing up the lift stations, trying to make them a little more attractive this year. McKay Road, Conray, and all of those. So it's always a working effort to try and make things as neat as they can. Vision for the future, more retail opportunities for us. We need to do better. We need better things for our people. Improving our, west side of town. That's one of the main things. We've got to figure out how to get something going on our west side, and trying to figure that out. I don't know if it's, my idea was to put the police station out there, maybe pop some growth along with it. Better paying jobs. We are always advocating for our companies to pay more. The new jobs that we're creating. I told Brian, back in the bag that, I don't want any jobs unless they pay at least $25 an hour. So don't even bring them to talk to us. We're not interested in low paying jobs. And then, we're just getting everything going. It's been a great 3 months. We're trying to get our pride in place. We're really working on invigorating people to have pride in our community. We're going to be changing our motto at some point in time. The pride and progress is tired. It's old. It's done us well, but I think we can do better. And I think all of us can do better. And I think people need to understand that this is not just the mayor's office, or not anybody trying to tell you what to do or how to do. It's a team effort on everything. And we're blessed in our city. And finally, like to say in closing here, our employees are awesome. I mean, they do a great job. I mean, from the guy that you think does the simplest job to the guy that does the toughest job. I don't know which is which, because they're all tough. When you deal with the public every day and do the things that they do, they just do an awesome job. So let's give them a hand. So thank you, and hope I didn't bore you, but Jenny's next, so she's more exciting.
Or more boring. Good afternoon. I think I have 2 minutes, so I'm going to run through all 172 bills that we passed. Technically, we sent 173 to the governor's office. One got vetoed. That was House Bill 1002 that had to do with inserting a definition of what is anti-Semitic into our schools. Unfortunately, it came out of the House in a way that the governor would have signed. It did not come out of the Senate. We compromised with the Senate, and the compromise was not good enough. So that one did not make it across the finish line. Every other bill did. 4 of the ones that made it across the finish line I authored. I'm going to focus on 2 of those, since we've spent a significant amount of time talking about mental health and addiction. Both of those have something to do with that. The first one deals with community mental health centers. $70 million of your state taxpayer dollars go to community mental health centers across the state from your county budgets. There is currently some reporting that goes back to your county councils and your county commissioners, but not enough. And so the bill adds in additional reporting so that our county officials will have a better understanding of what our community mental health centers are doing, so that they can then work with all of our other mental health providers, so that we're using our dollars in the most efficient and effective way possible. It also then sets up a certification process, which I hate more government regulation, but the community recovery organizations that are operated across the state are currently not overseen by anyone, which means that they cannot receive federal funding. It also means that we don't know what they're doing. And there was quite a few complaints and concerns about whether or not they were all providing the treatment that was necessary and appropriate. So it sets up a registration and certification process through the DMHA, which is the Department of Mental Health and Addiction under FSSA. So that bill I'm super excited about. It takes effect on July 1. The other mental health bill has to do with xylazine, which is a veterinary drug that is unfortunately being laced into illicit drugs such as fentanyl and heroin. One, it has absolutely no human purpose to have xylazine in any drug. It causes wounds, but it also does not respond to Narcan. So if someone were to overdose from the fentanyl or heroin, an administration of Narcan is applied by our public, our police officers or EMS providers or even a family member, that person unfortunately will not be revived. And so then they have overdosed and died, which means that we cannot get them the mental health treatment that they need. In 23, I passed a bill asking our coroners to start testing for xylazine. They did that. The numbers came back. This happened not only in Indiana, but multiple states across the state have done this. There's been a 50% increase in xylazine and overdose deaths in the Midwest just in the last 3 years. In Philadelphia, they've specifically seen that individuals are no longer seeking out fentanyl that happens to be laced with xylazine. They're actually seeking out xylazine as a drug of choice, which is terrifying to me. So the bill makes it so that possession of xylazine without a prescription or proper veterinary use is a level A misdemeanor on your first offense, level 6 felony on your second, and if you're dealing, it is a level 5 and then a level 4. So it allows our criminal justice system to start dealing with this substance, which they could not have done previously. So those are a couple of the mental health things that we did this section. We also had a big push and focus on third graders actually knowing how to read. About 14,000 kids do not read in third grade. If you go back to prior to Glenda Ritz taking over the Department of Education, there was a rule in place that if you did not pass iRead for third grade, you were not allowed to be passed on to fourth grade. So this was the law approximately 10 to 12 years ago. At that time, we had about a 94% completion rate of iRead. Since that law was taken away, we have dropped down to 88%. So the legislature said, no, we're putting this back in place. So beginning in July 1, kids will have to start passing iRead to move on to fourth grade. They'll have to take iRead in second grade. So if they pass it in second, they're good. They'll take it again in third. If they don't pass it in third, they'll go into a summer class and take it again. If they do not pass it that third time, that is when they'll be retained. And obviously there's also safeguards for any child that's on IEP, individual educational plan, or a 504, which is similar. So we're not going to hold back kids that we should not be holding back. So that was Senate Bill 1. And I'm going to ignore the 170 I did not touch on. And tell you guys that there is a legislative update with myself and Representative Criswell and Representative Green that represent the other portions of Shelby County, as well as Senator Kreider and Senator Lysing on Friday, April 19th at the Shelbyville Central Schools building, which is right next to the preschool. So I'd encourage all of you to come to that and hear a more thorough update. And I thank the chamber for putting that on. And I thank every single one of the businesses that allowed myself and Mayor Ferguson to speak today. It's been a pleasure working with the mayor for the last 3 months, and I will stay as a city attorney as long as he'll have me.
Once again, thanks for everybody coming today. We tried to stay on time. We got a little late with lunch, so I apologize for that. We're here. We're going to be here, and we're available. And that's the thing I want you to leave with today. If you need to call me, my cell phone number, get a pen, write it down, 317-401-1412. I don't care. Call me if you got problems. Well, we're there to help, and that's what we should be doing. And it's going to be a team effort, and we're going to do the best we can for Shelbyville. It's not about me as the mayor. It's about us as a community. And thanks again for being here, and thanks to our sponsors, and thanks for the great lunch. And Jenna, thank you for doing your work, and Susan Baldwin, thank you for your work. Thanks for everybody. Oh, one last thing I just should say. Monday, we actually outlawed that word in City Hall. We weren't allowed to say it anymore because we planned, the city has planned, the county has planned. And if this thing doesn't go well, I'm sorry. But we've done as much planning for the biggest unknown thing I've ever did in my life. This planning started last summer. We've been diligent on planning this all throughout, even back in December when I first got ready to go. It's not because we don't have a plan. It's because we have too many people, and I'm getting a little scared now. But we have plans, and I think the only problems we're really going to have is if the interstate's back up when the eclipse is over and people get ready to leave from here, and they can't get on the interstate, then we'll have problems at our exits. But we have, our viewing site on Hessian Drive, well manned with police, street departments helping us take care of that. The Parks Department's doing, along with the City Hall staff, doing the Blue River Park for parking. So we have these two bits. We have the event Saturday night downtown, thanks to Main Street. So come out and enjoy that one. Then Monday, just stay home. So, but we're prepared, and I think it's going to go well. And like I said, the interstate's going to be like that, causing problems. So we're prepared otherwise. So thank you all for coming. Have a great weekend. Enjoy.